All right, so on this one, I'm curious what y'all reaction gonna be because this dude saying it. I wonder what y'all's reaction gonna be because I say the same thing, but this is a different person, so we gonna see what y'all say.
Stop hitting me up to do the nasty! I want a boyfriend. I want to go on a date. Why is this so hard for y'all to understand? Where the did the chivalry go? Y'all are so worried about what I am if I'm a top or bottom. Hey, Catrell, come on over and you can smoke and drink with me. I can do that at my house. Is this how y'all mamas raised y'all? When was the last time y'all took me on a date? And then on top of that, y'all be like 40. You are too grown to be doing all that shit. Ask somebody about their dietary restrictions instead of asking them about if they're a top or a bottom.
All right, that took me out. He hilarious. Hey, he ain't lied though. All right, so what y'all gotta say? Because I just said the same shit, but I guess because I'm saying it from a more confident over here standpoint, as the top, as the nigga y'all like the niggas that y'all be going for, maybe I'll be able to relate to them more when they say it from their perspective of how they don't feel like they're getting what they want. All right, well, whatever. It don't matter. So check this out. This is what I'll be talking about. There is not enough guys that have intention in this lifestyle. I have realized that people have commented under my videos, let me know, how tops really are. I excuse myself because I have been speaking from my perception because I deal with bottoms. So I don't have that understanding that y'all do about how tops be really out here moving. But actually, I do because I have friends and stuff. So that's where I had to realize, like, okay, let me think about the homies. Like, because that sounds like the homies. We be commenting and saying, like, oh, these dudes don't be on nothing. These tops don't be trying to take us out. These tops, if you do what you say so. If you are, self-loving, you don't want to give it up immediately. You trying to get to know somebody. You have standards that runs them off. They don't want to deal with you no more. So I'm like, okay, I didn't know that exactly was happening with y'all like that because I didn't know if it was just mutual where y'all was just hooking up and it was just like mutual. And then I was looking at it like, well, if you're giving it up to him that first night, then why are you expecting him to do anything else? But okay, we on the same page. Y'all telling me that there are a lot of y'all that are not doing that. Y'all are not trying to give it up on the first night. Y'all are not hoes. So I need to address y'all. So with that being said, y'all, the majority of tops out here are definitely little boys. They got a lot of Peter Pan syndrome, a lot of little boy syndrome. Peter Pan syndrome is, I am just a boy in this world trying to figure out my way. I am mostly focused on myself and my own come up in career, money, things that I can control because this lifestyle, this economy, etc. Then it's, we grew up not having any kind of guidance, no blueprint, just like bottoms did. So these dudes are, nobody taught them how to be a man to another man. Like you hear all the time, sometimes in the black community, you don't even hear how to be a man to a woman, let alone a man to another man. So that's where I feel like I come in to let them know, hey, y'all, we are worthy just as much as every other straight man to be the head of household of our man. Or we can share the throne, you know what I'm saying? We could be in a relationship where it isn't that hetero stack, like where just because you're the top, you the more dominant all the time. Like you could share the power with him. You could let him run the power outside the bedroom if you want. You know what I'm saying? Like there isn't no one way. All right. So I just want to say that first. Second, y'all got to be intentional about dealing with bottoms because I can tell that what y'all are doing is the same thing that I was doing to niggas that I thought was thoughts. I gained a perception on bottoms after a while that they were all hoes. So if a dude told me he was a bottom, I immediately canceled him out as something to take serious. I always wanted to cuff like a verse top or at least a versatile dude so that there's some type of chase, challenge, thrill, some exclusivity there. But with a straight bottom, it's just like, okay, there's not really much different about this person besides the fact, there's not anything different from a girl about this person besides that they have a penis. And it's like, I think a lot of men look down on that because it's like, you're kind of disowning your manhood So I prefer to turn a top or a straight dude or a versatile dude into a bottom. Those ones are the ones that are the best to me. They always feel better, have a tighter box. They give you more. You could tell that you're more of an exclusive thing, like you're an exception. They treat bottoms like how we treat bottoms, but then they treat me way better because they have the same mindset I do, basically. Also, why tops are really failing is because there isn't really a reward, a strong reward for being a man in this kind of relationship with another man. When you're doing it with a woman, you get kids, you get, the marriage, the picture perfect little picket fence lifestyle that everybody, told you was supposed to do from the jump. So it gives you like that reward of, you pleasing everybody else and all that other shit. You know what I'm saying? That's the reason why most of them straight relationships is even happening. But with us, we have to be self-assuring, self-loving, self-hyping, self-confident, driven. Like we don't have other people supporting us to be the man to y'all that y'all are wanting. You know what I'm saying? There really isn't an incentive besides, yes, I can eventually marry you. Yes, I'll have a companion, a partner, or whatever. But it's like I think a lot of us thrive for a little bit more than that. We want a little bit more tangible, and it's like this gay lifestyle has created this whole big free for all that causes a lot of tops to feel like, what's the point of me putting my effort in to do any of this shit? Like take y'all on dates, take y'all serious or anything because you was just probably busting it wide open for a nigga last night. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I be saying whole culture, it prevents a lot of the stuff that y'all talk about. Y'all think that that's just that. It isn't just that. That is the biggest face and forefront of this lifestyle. You have to be able to recognize that sooner than later. Okay? So that's the reason why I tell y'all don't give it up that first night, because when you don't give it up that first night, you weed out all the F-boys because they will be turned off because you've now become too complicated, okay? They don't want no nigga that got no self-love, that love himself, that care about what he got going on, that got goals, who's trying to take something serious. They don't like that because they look at you like you're just a sex toy, okay? So that is dodging a bullet. That's not missing out on nothing. That is not, the tops are, no, they're not tops. Them is F-boys that just so happen to only like to smash niggas. They don't like to get smashed by niggas that you know of. But at the end of the day, they're not a man, and that's what you need to be worried about as a bottom or as a receiver of penetration, period. When you picking out a nigga, you need to be worried about, is he a man, not is he a top. Okay? A top just means I like to smash niggas and not get smashed. That's it. You need to be looking at, is this a man? Like, does he want to be with someone consistently? And what is his values and his goals? That's what you need to be worried about. That's the first part. And you can't get there the first night, no way. And if you think you did, they probably was lying and capping to get some. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I say do not give it up that first night for that exact reason. Because if you don't, with a dude like me, because y'all want a nigga like me, all right? If the nigga ain't like me, he ain't on shit. And I mean that, okay? The nigga like me is going to be like, oh, he ain't give it up the first night. Okay, we talked. Like, I like his vibe. So he probably don't be giving this up all the time. If he has, we will get to the point where if we like you so much, we won't even care about your past like that. But we don't need to see your past. We don't need to hear about your exes and all that. That's where y'all mess up at too. Y'all talk about the pain y'all done been through by other niggas to us just because we might be boyfriend material or something, but that's not for us. That's for you to deal with, and then you give me the clean slate. I don't want to hear about that nigga. I don't care about that nigga. I'm dealing with you. You know what I'm saying? So a dude like me will look at it like, okay, let me see what's up with this nigga. I'm gonna take him out to eat or something. You know what I'm saying? Just fill his head out. Like you can't get in a mind of a dude like that if you're giving it up the first night. That's what I'm trying to say. And don't think that what you're gonna do is you're gonna withhold from this nigga because you like this nigga, but then you can give it up to any other nigga that you don't care for just because, oh, he just a little fuck, he just a little plaything. You think you got it like that? You don't. Okay? You cannot do that shit. If you play that role, the nigga will, if he's anything like me, he will peep the manipulation, he will notice that, oh, you're trying to play hard to get, but you're really a thought trying to get out of this shit because you want to feel a little bit better. It's about, that makes you a selfish person. A bottom that gets smashed by niggas that he don't got no intention with, but then will withhold from a nigga that is a good person because he wants to try to trap him, that's bogus. And I hope that you lose out every time and get right back in the hookup culture because you don't deserve that. All right. We ain't with the manipulative bottoms, the ones that is passive aggressive and none of that shit. I don't like none of that. Okay. You gonna have to come real, be real about what you want, like how he did. That's what I like. A nigga like that. If you gotta scream, if you gotta be mad, nigga, keep it real. That's all. Like, that's what I connect to, is the realness. Not a nigga who's really wanting a relationship, but then sitting there acting hard and playing hard to get. Nah, I'm good. I'm just going with the flow. Whole time you up here imagining and dreaming about relationships all day. Like, cut it. Okay, y'all gotta be able to actually be real about what y'all want too, because that's another issue. Y'all play hard. Y'all play like what y'all want the nigga to be like. That's what I was saying in the last video about conventional attraction. A lot of handsome guys, they play a role that they think niggas want instead of just being themselves. You know what I'm saying? And a smart nigga like me can peep that you're just going with the motions. You're not being yourself. You're giving me the autopilot version of you, and I don't respect that. I'm going to look at it like you do this all the time. That's the reason why you're on autopilot, because this is something you do all the time. So guess what? I'm going to smash and I'm never going to talk to you again, if I even smash. But that's why y'all be in that cycle, not getting taken on dates and shit. Y'all got to realize that it is on both people, but you got to apply yourself correctly in order for you to be talking about what somebody else is doing wrong. Okay? And what else? Yeah, y'all, a lot of these tops do not know who they are. They're lost. They also lie to themselves about probably even really being gay fully. They look at it like, oh, this is just for hookups. I see dudes is just for fun. But then I'm gonna get, settled down with a woman or something later. Like, a lot of us think that too. So you need to weed all them niggas out. That's what I'm trying to say. The nigga that's just gonna try to smash and then he ain't got no intention with ever dating a dude, never wants to get in a relationship with a dude, you better not let him hit. That is a waste of body right there. A body count, straight up. Okay? Value yourself and look at yourself like you are worthy of something, that everybody can't have access to this. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how you gotta look at it. Be yourself, be authentic. You'll run off all the fuckboys and narcissists, and then you'll be probably lonely for a while, probably, abstinent, celibate. But like I said, get you a little toy or something. Do not use that as an excuse to go back out there and be a hookup culture and give it up, thinking that you can still be worthy. No, you're not. Okay? Would you want a bag that was just used? Okay, if you go to the store to buy an item, do you want the item that was picked over and stiffed through and got a hole in it and shit? Or do you want to get the fresh one? Okay? Look at yourself like that, because that's exactly how tops are looking at you. I know it might sound unrealistic because it's like, oh, everybody got a pass and all that. Yeah, but what I mean by dealing with yourself and healing, you become that fresh box again. Okay? You're not always considered straight up damaged goods. You're only damaged goods if you allow this shit to happen to you and then you don't do nothing about it, and then you just move on and think that you just gonna keep it moving and ain't gonna focus on nothing. You ain't gonna do no therapy. You ain't gonna take no time to yourself. You're not gonna, refrain from doing that anymore because you don't like how it makes you feel. You want to wait till a nigga come around to stop. That means you don't deserve it. All right, you deserve what you put the work in to get before you get it. You deserve it when you make yourself the best version of yourself before that shit pop up in your face. That's doing something. All right, that makes you worthy and deserving of something. That's all I be trying to say. Not you're permanently damaged goods just because you didn't have a past. We all make mistakes, and it's about who you are, not what you've done and made mistakes about because you was misled or misguided or somebody took advantage of you or something. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about active decisions to be a part of a lifestyle, knowing that you're not getting the results of what you're looking for, but you just keep doing the same shit, thinking that eventually I'm going to just bump my head up against a dude that's worthy and wants to do this, and then I'm just going to be good. No, because once the time you come across him, he's going to look at you and look down on you like, So you mean to tell me you got all this baggage to talk to me about these exes and all these niggas that done did you dirty and all this shit? That's another thing with him. I will say I like his passion, but if it comes out in a negative way where I could tell you done been smashed by all these dudes, they took you for granted, they didn't cuff you, you're bitter and mad because you just been getting smashed. All right, cool. I don't want that energy. I'm gonna just leave you alone. Let you take some time to yourself, figure yourself out, and then maybe later down the line, if the shit is in the cards for it to happen, we could do something. But I would never sit around and wait for a nigga like this either, because it just says, okay, you must have been giving it up because that's why you mad, But it would have to be based on how I got to know him one-on-one, because that's a one-on-one thing. Do not judge people straight off of the first thing that they say, the first time you see them, all that shit. Do not judge people off of that, off they cover. You got to have patience. That's another thing with gay people. Ain't got no patience. They think, oh, I can pull this nigga card within the first day. No, you can't. Okay, you need to give people some time to show you who they are, and they need to be able to do the same with you, because if they're expecting all the answers the first night, that means that they do this all the time. They don't have patience to be focused on you for this little moment because they just was dealing with somebody the other week, and now, that didn't work, and now they trying to hurry up popcorn, make up for lost time, all this bullshit that you ain't got nothing to do with, man. That's why I be saying it's good for these niggas to be healed for the majority, or at least trying to work on themselves before they end up with you. I wouldn't deal with no nigga who just hopping straight up out of this hookup culture and into me and into my relationship. Not at all. Okay? So, yeah, y'all. Practice, like talking on the phone, talking over social media. Like, get back to how, take some of that stuff that we used to do with girls back in high school. Like, cake on the phone for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, get that thing nice and anticipated. That's what you want. That's how you get a top that's really on something. Okay? So, yeah, y'all. Let me know what y'all think about this one. And yeah, I just wanted to say this because if bottoms do everything right, but tops are never going to step up because they don't look at you like you are somebody to take serious, because either you're a thought or they're just not ready mentally to even be nothing. That's why a lot of them may not be ready until they're like past 40. And that is something that a lot of people have said, because I've even had a woman tell me that men don't mature until they're around 40. So that's why that's not the time. That's why that's when they're ready to settle down. And I know a lot of people may think that's true, but I'm going to tell y'all straight up, in this lifestyle, we don't have that luxury. That's straight men. Okay? Gay men do not have the luxury to sit around and wait to mature until 40 fucking years old, bro. Trying to cuff somebody. Shame on you. Stay single for that. Okay? Just for that shit. I cannot stand that. All you hear when you growing up in this community, when you in your 20s, oh, you're a baby, you got so much time, and bullshit. Fall for that if you want to. God does not give you no years to waste. All right? It's never too early to be dope, to be the best version of yourself. If Beyonce waited until she was in her 30s to start being Beyonce, she would have never been Beyonce. Okay? She started when she was in her fucking, 11 or something is when she started. So why do y'all think I'm so successful with this? With my relationship, with all this wisdom and knowledge I have to give to y'all? I've been doing this shit since I was 19. Not like Say So TV, but I'm talking about I've been in this lifestyle, growing, practicing, learning, all that shit since I was a yamp. Niggas was telling me, oh, you too young to be worried about this shit. Go out there and have fun. You know what I'm saying? You think I didn't have older gays telling me this shit? Oh, baby, you a top now, but don't even trip. Give it a couple years. I done heard everything, bro. These same old ass niggas is still single out here in the clubs and shit. Ain't on shit. That's why I said if the nigga don't think like me, he ain't on nothing. Get you a me, okay? Because Kelso say so. So yeah, y'all, that's it for this one. Let me know what y'all think. Hit them comments up. Like this video. I'm going to see you on the next one. Peace.
No, I don't give a fuck about what anyone say. No, I don't give a fuck about what anyone say.